It is important to have a personal favorite. Now, what is a personal favorite, you might be wondering? And why is it important? Also, how do you find it? That is the topic of today's talk. Welcome back to another episode of the Growth Philosophy Podcast, a bite-sized weekly podcast whose goal is to help you upgrade your mind and life. And I'm your host, Salik. Now, in today's talk, I'll take you through the what, why, and how of your personal favorite sequentially. So let's start with the what. Now, when I talk about having a personal favorite, what I am talking about is one of your favorite things about yourself. What is it off the top of your head? What is your absolute favorite thing about yourself? Take a minute, have a think about it. Okay, the minute is nearly up. How are you getting on? I hope you are actually thinking about it. Okay, the minute is up. So, have you come up with a personal favorite thing? At least one favorite thing about yourself? If you did, great. Make a note of it. If not, however, don't worry about it, because I am certain you will come up with something by the end of this talk, as I dig deeper into the concept. By the way, let me give you an example of what I am talking about. This can make it easier for you to come up with your own personal favorite. This part is a bit challenging for me, as I'm not a big fan of talking about myself. That said, I realize that giving you a personal example can help you and clarify the concept further, so here it goes. For me, my absolute favorite thing about myself is my curiosity. Saying that I am really curious would be an understatement. Really. If you know me to any length, you will know this. And as I have learned more about myself over the years, that is one thing that I've really learned about myself. That my curiosity is insatiable. It can be a double-edged sword sometimes, but that's a talk for another day. The pros, though, of being massively curious hugely outweigh the cons. I really do love how curious I am, largely because it helps me discover new things. And I love that. My curiosity eggs me on to learn more, including learning from my setbacks and challenges. It is my curiosity that helps me to find out about things. It influences nearly every part of my life. My curiosity is what influenced me to explore new places and cultures, new food, new interests. It plays a role in nearly every one of my passions, be it food, travel, learning new things, reading, and so on. It is a trait that influences nearly every part of my life, and I love it. So I cannot really imagine me not being curious. So that is definitely, hands down, one of my favorite things about myself, if not the absolute favorite. So that's my favorite thing. That's my personal favorite thing about myself. And now I want you to think about yours. And this exercise, this whole idea of knowing a personal favorite, it is good information to have. It is good to know it. It is good to know what your favorite thing about yourself is. Not just good, by the way. I'd actually go as far as to say that it is important, imperative even, for you to know about your favorite thing about yourself. Why? Why is it important for you to know about your personal favorite? It's mainly because many of us suffer from a serious lack of self-esteem. Mental health issues are on the rise. The statistics for that are quite alarming, with mental health predicted to reach the epidemic scale in the near future. According to the WHO, 1 in 4 people suffer from some sort of mental health challenges. Stress, in fact, is pretty well known as one of the biggest reasons why people suffer from health problems. And the key contributor to these alarming situations is the fact that most people do not value themselves. Most people do not appreciate themselves or value their self-worth. Many even go as far as to hate themselves. Self-hate is on the rise, and it's a really sad and alarming situation. But here is the good news: we can do something about it. You can do something about it, at the very least for yourself. A self-awareness exercise like this, in fact, can go a long way to negate such self-image and self-esteem issues. Now, if you're new to this idea, there will be challenges when you try out this exercise, when you first ask yourself this question about your personal favorite. Some of you might find it quite hard to come up with an answer for the question, but it's important not to give up. If you don't find the answer the first time, dig deep. Keep at it, and you will find the answer. It's actually not that hard to pinpoint at least one favorite thing about yourself, to discover at least one thing about yourself that you like or even love. Now, that said, here is a common challenge that people often face when coming up with an answer to this question about a favorite thing about themselves. And that is usually because many of us have been taught about how not to draw attention to ourselves, about how we should not do it, or how we should not brag. And thinking about and highlighting good things about yourself might feel like a brag. If you feel that way, I completely understand where you're coming from. Growing up in a conservative household and culture instilled in me ideas about not bragging. So this was a challenge. This was a personal challenge for me. So I understand where you're coming from. It might feel like you're boasting when you try to come up with an answer and highlight the good things about yourself. I know I certainly felt that way. The first time I thought on that question, I really struggled to answer it. And it was mainly because I felt that at a certain level, that was me bragging about myself. So if you come across that sort of internal debate, here is what I want you to realize. Highlighting your favorite thing about yourself has nothing to do with bragging or boasting. Quite the contrary, in fact, as it is about self-awareness and self-esteem. More so, it is about respecting and appreciating yourself. When you highlight the good things about yourself, you acknowledge to yourself that you have things within you that are good, things that are worthy of appreciation and respect. You are worth your own respect and appreciation, aren't you? We all have strengths. We all have great qualities and traits and skills and so on. It's good to be aware of them. That is an important part of self-awareness and personal growth. Exploring and acknowledging the good things about you helps remind you of your self-worth and can go a long way in improving your mental strength, happiness, and the overall quality of your life. So here is the question of the day for you again. What is your personal favorite thing about yourself? What is your personal favorite? Think about it. When you come up with an answer, hopefully you'll come up with more than one, but at least one. Make a note of it somewhere where you can regularly see it. That will be a great way to give yourself a boost whenever you need one. And for any of you with low self-esteem or self-confidence issues, this exercise can be especially helpful. However, even if you do not have any such challenges, even if you feel that you have rock solid confidence and self-esteem levels, this can still be a valuable and even insightful exercise. So try it out. But with that, we have come to the end of today's talk. So that's it for today. I hope you found this talk useful. And more importantly, I really do hope you will apply what you learned today, because it really can have a significant positive impact on your life, but only if you apply what you learned. If you have any questions or comments or suggestions, share them on my blog. You can also find further resources, including show notes and transcripts, on my website. Now, before I go, I do want to emphasize something else. A key thing, the main reason for this podcast. The way you think impacts every area of your life. So do not forget to continually work on your thinking. Towards that end, this exercise today can help. In fact, it will help. Thinking better at the end of the day is one of the most important things you can do for yourself and others. So think better and upgrade your life. As always, it has been a pleasure having you listening. Join me again next week for another episode of the Growth Philosophy Podcast. Until then, have a great week.